singer of the rock band Nirvana was found dead in his Seattle, Washington home today. Police said Kurt Cobain apparently shot himself, leaving a suicide note behind. Cobain's mother said her son had been missing for 6 days. She feared he would be found dead. Police said the body was discovered by an electrician who went to the home to do some work.
There was a note, there was a planter that had been dumped upside down in the dirt at root ball and was laying there on the counter with a full-size sheet of paper. The pin stuck through it that was a suicide note, apparently, from what the officer said.
Did you get a chance to read it?
I only read the bottom lines on it. Bottom 2 lines said, I love you, to someone.
In early March, Cobain spent several days in a Rome hospital after falling into a drug and alcohol-induced coma. Before that, he had canceled 2 concert dates in Europe, citing health problems. But problems were nothing new to Cobain. He addressed them in his songs, which critics say spoke to the worries of people in their 20s.
I think if there was a John Lennon-type figure for the so-called Generation X listener, the kids, young people in their teens and 20s of today, it would be Cobain. He really expressed a lot of that conflicted feeling they have about their lives. His music had a sweetness to it, but it also had an incredible anger. And I think he brought those 2 elements together better than any artist in his songwriting of the 90s. And I think that's going to be his legacy.
We learn more about the career of Kurt Cobain and the music he generated from CNN's Mark Shearer.
As a teen in rural Aberdeen, Washington, Kurt Cobain told one writer he felt like his classmates thought he would explode one day. As it turned out, his band Nirvana exploded, from underground roots on independent releases to a major label debut that helped launch a musical movement centered around Seattle and a sound and style that became known as grunge.
A month before that album came out, they were practically nobodies. A month after it came out, they were spokesmen for their generation.
That 1991 album, Nevermind, shot to #1 and sold over 10 million copies. Cobain and bandmates Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl were hauled into the mainstream they had studiously avoided. It was a rough ride with some self-inflicted bruises. When a Vanity Fair article had Cobain's wife, singer Courtney Love of the rock group Hole, boasting of heroin use during her pregnancy, Love claimed she was misquoted.
Okay, one more. Go, chug.
The couple had a daughter, Frances. Seattle police were called to their house in a domestic dispute last June. And Cobain has admitted heroin use. He says it was partly to medicate chronic stomach pain. In March, while the 27-year-old Cobain and his wife were staying in Rome in between European concert dates, he was hospitalized in a coma for reportedly ingesting a tranquilizer and champagne. A spokesperson said the medication was prescribed for Cobain's stomach troubles. Nirvana's In Utero album, released in September of 1993, rang up sales of over 2 million. But because of its album cover art depicting fetuses, the Kmart and Walmart chain stores wouldn't stock it. In early April, the band agreed to alterations, their management saying they wanted the CD to be available to more kids. Nirvana was dressed for success on the cover of Rolling Stone, but success wasn't suiting them well.